Okay guys, so just thought I'd do a quick little update. Where I left you last, I had just got in the car basically like you're seeing it here, and I still had a bit of scraping away to do just to get some of the grease out of the underbody, where there was leaks, let's say around the prop shafts, and the handbrake cable would have been all greased up as well. Plus the diff was leaking, so there was a bit in different areas there. But now I have my 2 coats of Bardahl Convert'Ox 944 Pro, I think it's what? Yeah, 944 Pro Convert'Ox stuff. So I have the 2 coats on that. I'm just going to show you what that kind of looks like. So anywhere you're seeing purpley black, it's converted. There was obviously raw metal exposed. I just turn on the light there. So you're sort of seeing there, all of that would have been where I ground back to the metal basically, and so if I seen a little patch of rust or something, I would grind it back and see if there was a hole. If there wasn't a hole, I would leave it, and this is it being treated. So it's all going to look a little bit ugly with that kind of light on it. So that's the second coat. The first coat went on yesterday. This is the second coat. You sort of see that shine off it now. It's still slightly wet. It's still wet, like it's sort of tacky. But I mean, this morning the first coat went on yesterday. This morning when I came in, it sort of had a shine off it and was kind of dry. So it leaves a glossy enough finish. And basically, I hope you're kind of seeing this, but I kind of went into every single crevice. So like it's a whole, see that there, that whole lip. So what I would have done when I had the gun was I would have went from this angle and went the whole way across. Do you know what I mean? So I can actually see I missed a little spot of mud on the inside of that wing. But hopefully that's not a common thread going through the whole thing. So you can see, like, the inside of them areas there all got ground back, and then that coating, and yeah, like that. I missed a little bit of mud on the inside of that as well. I know that's not the case on the back wings, but obviously I missed on the front. The front, I was sort of more focused on the inside part of this, because the wings themselves are all going to be swapped out. So the other wing has a rusty hole in it that's been kind of bonded over. So that's going, and this one's going to get the diesel one with the louvers in the hole in the thing there. I actually was sort of playing with the idea of making a second louvered one for both sides, but and then trying to force air in both ways, if you know what I mean. But anyway, that's another day's job. So basically what I did was I sprayed the entirety of here, trying to get in all these areas, like that, and just went the whole way down. I probably didn't get as much in the inside down here, so the inside here I probably didn't get as much in as I should have, but I mean up there is not going to get that much spray of coating either, and it'll be fairly good already. So you can see all here, like it's really coming out on that camera now, the colour when you put that light on it, but you get an idea of all the different areas that were ground back to metal, and then that metal has been coated with this. As I said, it's the second coat that you're looking at here. And I mean, it's still there's still areas where it's wet, so it'll require its time. Do you know what I mean? I have the garage door closed and all the doors closed to basically let this sit wet as long as possible. So I did all along here as well, and all in here. This area got one coat, but the whole way through on my main work was all in this area, so I would have been coating everything as I went before and after welding. So that doesn't require as much attention, believe it or not, because I'd already had been given it. You're seeing all of it, like. this whole bar is purple. That is the bar for the tow bar. So you can see your two kind of mounting points there. That's just happened to be left there. I'm not going to remove it entirely, and I have the tow bar so I can hook it back up if I ever decided to go on a camping trip or something where I didn't want to use the Jeep for towing. I don't see why I would do that. I have a great Jeep for towing, so that won't be but at least I leave myself the option, you know. So you're just going around here, you're seeing this, as again, this only got one coat in the wheel arch here. This is just this morning's coat. And you can see how it's actually dried already in that area. So I might go, well, no, I was going to say I might go for another coat, but I don't think it needs it. Just gone a bit mad in that case. You can see all there, like. So anyway, yeah, and the metal I was using is all zinc plated stuff that I was welding in with. So to give you an idea, that's what I got done so far on the rust remedy, or the rust converter, and this is the stuff here. So yeah, so it's 944 Pro is what it's called, Bardahl Convert'Ox. And you can see how it reacts. I think that reaction, and don't quote me on this, but I think the reaction on that is basically a sulfur or something. It basically reacts and makes that, coats it with this other metal stuff. So this is kind of really crucial that you don't breathe this stuff in. And this morning yesterday and this morning I had ventilator on me and everything like that, and everything covering my eyes. It's quite dangerous stuff to be messing with. So I went through 3 litres for the entire project, so that's everything. So what I would have done, there would have been about, I'd say, half a litre to 3/4 of a litre used already before I started doing this spraying on, let's say, painting all the metal work. Before painting all the metal work with a brush, let's say, before I would start cutting or start welding to it and everything like that. And what I used to do, or what I did last week, was I got a spray bottle like this. That's all entirely plastic construction, and what I did was I went round all the holes in the sills and I sprayed it in, and all the different holes that would have had a bung on it, basically, that I thought needed it. Now, not every hole, but all the holes that I thought needed it had cavities, and I actually sprayed it in. So I used quite a lot of it there and that. So I probably went over it with 2 litres in complete with the spray system, with the spraying, and I'll just show you how I did that. What I did was I was using this gravity feed primer gun, which is it's a 1.8 nozzle on it. You can see a little bit still in there. That wasn't working because anytime you put let's say you're spraying the underside of the car, when you went like that, you were just sucking in air and you actually weren't getting any kind of spitting. It was just kind of spitting at you. So what I ended up going to was a suction fed feeder, which the nozzle is at the very bottom of that can, and this is all aluminium. So when I was able to tip it like that, I was still getting the bottom of the can, basically, so I was getting full. And I might use that or this Schultz gun for when it comes to actually doing the Gravitex undercoating. So I still have a bottle of that there. I don't think I'm going to need it. I think I've gone far enough with this. And what I'm going to do basically is once I've sprayed, that has all time to cure, I will go over. So you would have seen all of my welds and everything like that, and all my sheets of thing were zinc primered after I worked on them. So they would have been weld through primer prior to that, then zinc primer over the weld, and then once that dries, that second coat of the rust converter, all my welded areas, all the exposed welded, and maybe some of the exposed metal and that, will get this zinc 182, which is an industrial grey primer. It's a rust inhibitor primer, but I can tell you this is serious stuff. It's Isopan to make it, but it's serious stuff because I have had this, let's say, land on my hands when I was painting it and stuff like that, and maybe within 15-20 minutes you can feel it burning you. So that's industrial strength stuff. And once I've coated everything like that, I will then go over it with gravity polyurethane sealant, which is basically your seam sealer. So I have a tube of it there. I go over all of the seams with that, and that will be left then until, so I'm hoping that I will get those two processes done over the tomorrow, and maybe Sunday morning I have to be in here for a little bit, and then I will be able to go with the epoxy mastic mix and coat the entire bottom of that on Tuesday morning. Tuesday through to Tuesday week, basically, or Tuesday, sorry, the entire week will probably be set to doing the paint on that. I got my Gravitex undercoating, so that should be that part sorted. Sorry, this video was stretching on a bit. This is the cleaned up or the painted over area where I did the fabrication on it. You can see there's a noticeable difference, and now I know, look, this will blend in over time. That's just the normal black shiny paint. I will do another coat on that. This is all the stuff that needs to get painted as well in that black shiny paint. And then I have my shocks that they just arrived the other day. So I went for the conies, and the reason I went for the conies was that as soon as I was ready to order the Bilsteins, they went out of stock. So it was like fate was telling me to save myself €150 and just buy the conies. So that's that part and everything. So basically what I'm waiting on to finish the rear suspension is I want to redo this brake pipe here because I had pitting. This little one here, and I want to redo this brake pipe here, which is copper, and I'm just doing it because if you look at it, it's all it was done while the subframe was in place, so it would seem silly while we have the option not to do it properly that we don't just do a nice clean job on it. So those two brake pipes, I think I'll probably end up having to do the front one. This one here looks a little bit scabby. I'll have a look at it once I'll rub it back and just see what it's like. So that'll be the brake pipe. So I've got a kit coming with zinc plated, I believe it's zinc plated proper brake pipes, as in not copper. On the copper rolls of copper tubing and stuff, they never say for brake pipes. This is specifically for brake pipes. So that's on its way, and then the bottom, those kind of ball joint bushings that go into the hub, they are on the way. And at that stage, I think I'll be able to do the rear suspension, or put together the suspension. The only thing that I'm missing is the thin piece of metal that holds that rear anti-roll bar up against its mounts, and they were totally rusted, so that anti-roll bar wasn't even attached to the body of the car when I picked it up, when I got it. So these kind of U pieces that clamp in, I believe from all I can find, that is I have to go to Mercedes basically for the two of them. So what I might do is I might fit the rear suspension in place, everything sitting lovely, and just leave those two unbolted until Mercedes is back open, when we don't know when that'll be. And then so that would be the rear suspension in, front suspension hopefully will be in at the same time, and then we'll be ready to start taking out the engine. Now I'm a bit reluctant to rush into taking the engine out because I need all these seals and gaskets and things that are arriving for this.
And I don't want necessarily to be confusing myself, but then I think I'd be safe enough to remove the 6-cylinder M103 engine from this, do some preliminary work. I'm sure there'll be when I take that engine out. Like, I'll have to put in the cable drive for, or the cable, the throttle cable from the old OM6 NA om606. I will have to put in, I'm sure, several other things I just can't think of right now. I'll have to put in the ignition. The ignition system will have to go in with the vacuum cutoff for the pump. Pipe all that in, and I'm sure there'll be other things that I can't even think of. They'll all have to happen while the engine is out. So maybe I'll be safe enough to take that engine out. As I say, we're another 2 weeks of lockdown here in Ireland, so I should be keeping myself busy. I shouldn't be waiting too long on stuff. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. That was a long video. I just went through an awful lot of information and stuff like that. I hope it was interesting. It wasn't too boring. I will talk to you soon. Thanks.